Hey guys, Ragnarok54 here, and welcome back to another RuneScape video. This time I'm going to show you guys how to do the quick hop Livid method that you may have heard about that allows you to get a lot of Livid points per hour. So normally you can only get 12,500 Livid points per hour because of the way Livid works. You can only do so many activities around the farm before you finish them all off. And then every 1 minute the farm resets. But the problem is you can do all of these activities really easily under 1 minute, so you're kind of time gated with 12,500 points per hour. But using the quick hop method, you can get up to 3 or even 4 times that number of points per hour. Over the time that I did my Livid farm, my 430,000 points, I think I averaged around 35,000 points per hour. So definitely worth doing this method because you can just save a ton of hours in the end. And spend that doing things that are a lot more fun than Livid Farm. So requirements for this method, the only items you're going to need are these 3 right here in my inventory. You're going to need some nature runes, some master runes. I recommend getting about 10,000 of each of those so you don't have to keep going back to the Grand Exchange, and a mud battle staff so that you can save yourself a lot on those earth and water runes. So those are really the only requirements you need to do this entire method. The reason why I have these skilling outfits is just for a little bit of extra experience while I'm doing this. You can take crafting or farming, whatever you want. Really not necessary because you don't get a ton of XP anyway, but it's nice for those efficiency crazed people who don't want to waste any XP. You can also bring a clan avatar here, but I would really not recommend it for reasons that I'll explain later. So what is this method? Essentially, this method revolves around finding a rotation of worlds and exploiting the fact that the RuneScape worlds aren't all lined up exactly along the same clock. So twice every 5 minutes, some produce will spawn in these bins. But the thing is, even though it might spawn at like, say, what time is it in game right now? 0154, like in 30 seconds in this world, it's not going to spawn at that exact same time in, say, world 86. So this method exploits that fact, and essentially after you find a working rotation of worlds, you can just be taking produce, putting it in, and hopping, and that way you can get a ton of points per hour because the produce gives you 240 points instead of the 20 points that the other activities give you. So let's get right into it. In addition to these basic requirements that you just need to do Livid Farm, I would also recommend having some real world things, which is a stopwatch and a piece of paper and something to write with, obviously. These things are like really going to help find your world rotations a lot faster, because without them you're going to have to be like remembering everything and not going to have any like frame of reference for when things are going to be spawning, so it's going to be really hard. So just pull out your phone, get like the clock app or something, go to online stopwatch, get Alt1 for RuneScape, something like that, just so you can get a stopwatch. And once you get those things, you'll be ready to go. So first things first, once you get to Livid Farm, just go there and start doing Livid normally. Make sure you have your piece of paper and your stopwatch ready to go, and just do Livid Farm as you would normally, and wait till the farm transitions to its next phase. So if you see that no produce has spawned in the produce bin, don't worry about it, just keep on doing Livid for another like minute or two, and then produce will spawn when the farm changes rotations. But once the farm changes and produce spawns, start your stopwatch and write down the home world that you're on right now. So, I mean, I guess there's not really any home worlds, but just keep this world as in your frame of reference as like the 000 time world, because you know that this world spawned that produce when your stopwatch was at 0 minutes and 0 seconds. After you've found this first world, you just take the produce, bunch it up, put it in the cart as per normal, and then hop to another world. I like to start at world 1 and then just progress through the world so that I know which worlds I've been to and I'm not like hopping around wildly. So hop to another world, start doing Livid normally again until the farm transitions. And if there's no produce in that bin, don't worry about it, just hop to a different world and keep doing Livid normally until it transitions. And if there's no produce, don't worry about it, just keep hopping. But if there is produce, then make sure to look at what the stopwatch said when the produce spawned and write down that world next to your first world that you wrote down, as well as the time that it spawned. So for example, if I had hopped to like world 1 just now, and I did some Livid, and then it transitioned and produce spawned at, say, 43 seconds on my stopwatch, then I would write down 1, and then underneath it 0:43 to let myself know that world 1 spawns its produce, at least relative to my home world, 43 seconds after that home world spawns. So I'm sure you guys get the idea at this point. You just, after you found that second world, you hop to more worlds, wait till it transitions. If you find the produce, then you write it down. If not, tough luck, just keep hopping around and finding more worlds. A lot more often than not, you're going to find worlds without produce in it, so don't get like sad if you can't find a perfect rotation on the first try. And just keep hopping around, making sure that you get back to your home world around 4 minutes and 45 seconds or 4 minutes and 30 seconds on your stopwatch. This is because as soon as that stopwatch hits 5 minutes, your home world is going to spawn produce again. So this is going to be the same for all the other worlds you found in your first 5 minutes as well. So if you found one world that spawns produce at 43 seconds, another one that spawns at like 3 minutes and 30 seconds on your stopwatch, and you found those two worlds in your first 5 minutes, that's pretty good. Make sure to remember that those worlds are going to spawn again in those respective times relative to the first world. So this time, when the stopwatch shows 5 minutes and 43 seconds, that first world is going to spawn. And when it shows 8 minutes and 30 seconds, that other world is going to spawn. So just keep repeating this process, making sure to go back to the worlds you already know spawn produce and bunching up the produce and turning it in. And hopping to random worlds that you haven't hopped to, or not random worlds, but strategic worlds I would recommend that you haven't already hopped to in between the gaps of the worlds that you already have found. Once you can fill a rotation up with, I've found around somewhere anywhere from like 6 to 9 worlds. You can do more if you're like really have good internet and a good computer, and you can do fewer if you're not looking to hop that many times or like that much, because it is very click intensive. But you can usually find that many worlds, and normally using a stopwatch, it takes me, I'd say maybe around 20 minutes to find a full rotation. So you really only want to do this if you can set aside like a good 2 hours maybe, or I mean, I sometimes did 3 or 4 hours, not gonna lie, sessions of doing this, because once you find a rotation, you're not gonna want to have to come back another day and find another rotation, because unfortunately I can't just tell you a rotation of worlds that will work. Because the whole reason why this works is because the worlds aren't at the same times all the time. They like change all the time. So the rotation you find is only going to work for about 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours before it needs complete overhaul. And even within those hours, you're probably going to need to make some fine tuning as you get to like the 3 hour, 4 hour mark. So I'll show you guys some examples of world rotations I found on screen, just so you know like the format I'm talking about to write it down. Obviously you can do this however you want. This is just how I did it to organize myself. Just keep in mind these world rotations will not work like for you. If you go try to find these, chances are they're not going to work. These were just so happened to work when I tried them, and this was like a few weeks ago, months ago. So you're going to have to find your own rotations, unfortunately. But if you just follow the steps that I've outlined, it shouldn't be a problem. And if it takes you more than like 30 minutes, then you're probably doing something wrong. So yeah, that's essentially the essence of this method. I would definitely recommend doing this method because you just save so many hours doing it. As I said, it's up to 3 or maybe even 4 times faster if you get a really good world rotation. And it's actually really fun. I did a lot of normal Livid. I did like 150,000 of normal Livid before I found out about this method. So if you've done any Livid at all, or even if you haven't done Livid and you're thinking about going for Completion Escape, definitely use the quick hopping method. It's so much faster, and it's actually kind of exciting and fun because it's like, oh, you got to get to the next world, you got to find it, and you're using like a stopwatch and everything. So I don't know if it makes me weird that I liked it, but I thought it was really fun. Another fun part is that you meet a ton of people. The first time I did this, I asked people to join my friend chat. I was like, hey, see them, I'm hopping around all these different worlds, so I'll see all these different people. I'll see, hey, do you want to get like a lot of Livid points per hour? And they're like, sure. Tell them to join my friend chat. I tell them my current world rotation. I made a ton of friends doing this. I like fostered a whole quick hopping community. Had like 15 or 20 people. It was just a really fun time. So I definitely recommend this, not even just because it's faster, but also because it's more fun. So yeah, I guess that's going to be it for this video. If I left anything out, please leave a comment asking me. And if you have any trouble when you're trying to do this, just let me know in the comments below. If you did enjoy this video, leave a like for all those hours you're going to be saving with this. And with that, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.